name is Maggie and I'm an animal care specialist here at Brookfield Zoo. Today for our Bringing the Zoo to You, we are having our African servals do their run. So we're going to have them running on our South Mall. So African servals are from Africa and they are the second fastest cat. So cheetahs are the fastest cat, as many of you are familiar with, but servals can run up to 45 miles an hour. So we're just practicing their run for when the zoo opens. So he's probably not going to get up to top speed, but he's got a lot of practice to do. So this is something you might see when you come visit the zoo. Oh, here he's checking us out. This is Kyan. He is one of two African servals we have here at the zoo. There he goes, picking up speed. So when we do this run, we start off with shorter distances. Then we gain speed by, Paul will back up a little bit and he'll get to go longer distances. There he goes, moving a little bit faster. So as I mentioned, they can reach top speeds of 45 miles an hour. He's definitely not reaching that speed right now, but this is great exercise for our African servals here at the zoo. This is a natural behavior for them, where they would be catching some of their prey. But it's also a really good enrichment for them here at the zoo, where they get lots of exercise. There he goes back and forth. So right now we're just a simple A to B behavior, but it's really great exercise and enrichment for them. This is nothing scheduled that we have here going on at the zoo, but this is something that you could eventually see just kind of popping up here. It's, as I mentioned, just really great behavior that we have going for them. So here at Brookfield Zoo, we have two African servals. We have Kyan and his brother Churchill. So today we just have one with us. Churchill decided not to come today. So we provide choice to our animals. They can decide to participate in the training sessions or not. So Kyan was super eager to come out today, so that's why we have him out. So he finished his run. It was pretty fast. I think he gained speed by the end of it. But we're going to actually keep him out and he's going to show off some more of his other behaviors. We're going to do a training session right over here with Nicolette. Alright, so we showed off how African servals are really fast runners, and that's just one of their adaptations that they use in the wild to hunt for their prey. So a few of the other things that they're known for in the wild that help them hunt for their prey, they use their really long legs to fish things out of the ground. So Nicolette here is going to show off how he fishes things out of the ground. So he's using, he's grabbing a little pine cone out of that tube. Now in the wild, they hunt for things like naked mole rats that live in burrows underneath the ground. So he uses those really big ears to hear those naked mole rats scurrying around underneath the ground. Then he'll take his long arm and put it into their burrows and grab them out of their homes, and that's his next meal. So that pine cone it kind of acts as a naked mole rat or some other small rodent that he would eat out in the wild. So that's another adaptation that he uses to survive out in the wild. So they run really fast. They use those long legs to kind of fish out food out of burrows underneath the ground. And then they're also really, really good jumpers. They can jump 10 feet high in the air. They're going to use that behavior to catch birds. So they would run up really fast to those birds and flush them out of the grasses and then jump 10 feet high up into the air to catch those birds right off the wing. So servals overall, they have so many adaptations that help them hunt for their food, and they are excellent hunters. Over 50% of the time they catch their prey, which is absolutely excellent for cats. Something like a lion, they might only catch their prey 20 to 30% of the time, whereas servals, they catch their prey 50% of the time. So they do an absolutely great job hunting for their prey out in the wild. So they themselves are predators, but they can actually be prey species themselves. If you guys catch him when he turns his head, he has white spots on the back of his ears. Those are called false eye spots or ocelli. And those kind of look like eyes on the back of his head. So that gives him the opportunity to run away if a predator sneaks up behind him. Some other behaviors that we do here at the zoo, besides showing off a lot of his natural behaviors, are husbandry behaviors. So Nicolette can ask for his paw and express his nails. Good. And then we can trim his nails voluntarily. Those are really great husbandry behaviors that we can get up close to him and help him participate in his own welfare. We can touch him all over his body, look inside of his mouth, make sure that he has optimal health, and being able to do those things up close really helps out the vet staff so that we can make sure that he is in optimal health. All right, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write in and we will do our best to answer all of those.
How fast can he run?
How fast can he run? He can run up to 45 miles an hour. Now, I'm sure many of you were watching the beginning and he probably did not catch that top speed, but they would definitely in the wild, if they were running after some prey, running away from them very quickly, they would reach those top speeds. But Kyan is definitely working off his quarantine 15 and reaching up to those top speeds.
Someone else wanted to know what he was running on.
Oh, what is he running on? So here we have set up just 2 poles and a wire, and we've trained him to run on this. This gives him the opportunity just to run right next to guests as they come to the zoo. So when we open on July 1st, we can set this up and then he just runs on it with a leash. So it's a trained behavior. He has been desensitized and used to it for a very long time, and we make it extremely positive.
What was he hissing at earlier?
We have our photographer near us. So hissing is a behavior that they use to say, you know, hey, maybe that made me uncomfortable for a second. It's just a way of communicating.
Can they climb trees?
He can jump really high. He probably could sit up in a branch, but they're not really tree-dwelling species.
Is he full grown?
He is full grown. He weighs right around 26 pounds.
What are his favorite treats?
Oh, he loves meat. Probably his favorite diet item is a chick.
Does he enjoy being pet like a cat?
Well, we have a really close bond with our Servals. Nicolette and myself have worked with these cats for a very long time. I worked with them since they were just weeks old. So it's really important that we have this very close bond with them. So with their trainers, they do really enjoy being close with us, but they don't enjoy being pet by everybody. And Servals are really great at a lot of things, but they do not make good pets.
What is their typical lifespan?
Under professional care, so here at Brookfield Zoo, they can live into their 20s, but in the wild, maybe around 10 to 15 years.
Do they swim?
Well, they're probably not great swimmers, but they do love water. A diet item that they can eat in the wild is fish, so they like to splash around in the water. So here at the zoo, some enrichment items that we give them is a big pool of water, and we put toys in it, we put their meat in it, and they can splash around and forage for their food that way.
When you're training him, do you use a clicker?
We do use a whistle bridge. So a clicker is another bridge, another type of bridge, but we also use the verbal cue of good.
What kinds of vocalizations do they make?
Well, Servals, they meow and they purr, and they make a little bit of like a kind of chuckling noise when they're really excited about things.
I love that he hissed at the photographer but not the videographer. That's just my personal observation. Where can people find him at the zoo?
Well, he is part of our Animal Ambassador program. So he does not have a habitat for viewing all the time. So he comes out for special chats, he goes on TV, he might just pop up walking by you in the zoo.
How large are their litters?
Maybe around 3 to 5.
And do they live in groups or are they solitary?
They are solitary in the wild.
So he kind of looks like a house cat. What similarities does a serval have with a house cat?
Well, he can purr, he can meow, he loves to play, and he also loves to scratch things. So he would definitely love to scratch up somebody's couch or their curtains. So he can be quite destructive. So imagine your house cat, but all of those behaviors, you know, multiplied many, many times over.
How sharp are his nails?
They're extremely sharp. So that behavior Nicolette showed off before where she picked up his paw and expressed his nails. So right now you can see some of them are clipped because Nicolette and I clipped them probably about a week ago, but they can get extremely sharp. So that would help him hunt for his prey, defend himself, you know, scratch on branches or climb something if he needed to. So here at the zoo, we do trim his nails.
Can you remind us how old he is?
He is 6 years old.
And how many servals do we have here?
We have 2 servals, Kyan and his brother Churchill.
Do they both run?
They do both run, and they run differently. Kyan, he's a little bit slower, and Churchill is a speed demon. He is so fast when he runs.
Do you walk him around the zoo ever?
We do walk them. They love walking, and that is another great way of enriching their lives. They get to walk. We do free walks where they can smell whatever they want, play in whatever they want. So it's a really great way for them to just relax and enjoy their settings.
Do they eat anything but meat, or are they just pure carnivores?
They are strictly carnivores, but they do enjoy scents, so we might give them spices. They really like the smell of celery, so we rub that on things for them to smell inside their habitats. So even though they just eat meat, they do enjoy smelling other things.
Do they mark their territories the same as house cats?
Yes, they absolutely mark their territories. They mark their territories using their urine, and they could spray far over Nicolette's head with their urine. So they do that every single day. We clean their homes, and then they do it all over again. They also have scent glands, and they use their drool, and they will scent mark on their necks. When they smell something that they really, really enjoy, they will drool all over it and rub their faces on it.
How did they come to be at Brookfield Zoo?
We got them from another zoo when they were really young, and they grew up to be part of our animal ambassador program. So we hand-reared them, took them home, and established really, really strong bonds so that they could be comfortable being around people, being around large crowds, going places, riding in cars. All of those things kind of built up to making this really amazing program animal.
Are they endangered?
They are not endangered. Their populations are doing pretty well, but you know, people are always watching those numbers and making sure that these animals survive in the wild.
Can you remind us how much they weigh?
Anywhere from 25 to 35 pounds. Kyan is an intact male, so he is larger. So he weighs right around, I think I said 26, but I think he weighs somewhere between there and 30 pounds.
Yeah, he varies throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remind us again where they're found in the wild?
They're found in sub-Saharan Africa, so that's about the middle of Africa and down. Their populations are pretty widespread.
You don't ever take them over by the naked mole rats to see them, do you?
No, we do not take them to the naked mole rats, but I do think that they would love to. Sometimes when we're out walking, they see chipmunks or other small rodents. They don't ever catch them, but they do enjoy watching them.
So what kind of predators do they have in the wild?
Something like a hyena would be one of their predators. Other larger cats like a lion, they could definitely be one of their predators.
And can you remind us how high they can jump?
They can jump up to 10 feet high in the air, straight up in the air to catch a bird.
Oh my goodness. Are there going to be zoo chats once the zoo reopens?
We will not be doing chats with the servals scheduled, but there will be other opportunities for people to see animals at the zoo.
Oh, you mentioned that Kyan is intact. Are neutered servals smaller?
I would imagine that they might be a little bit smaller.
Yeah, if it's done earlier in their life too, they could end up a little bit smaller.
How many times a day do you feed them?
He gets fed throughout the day. In the morning, he gets some of his diet for shifting, for moving to different parts of his enclosure, and then we do multiple training sessions throughout the day.
So what does he get as reinforcement when you do training sessions?
Just his regular diet. So he trains just for his full meal throughout the day.
Does he ever talk like house cats sometimes do?
He does communicate with us. Yep, he meows. He does different vocalizations when he's happy or when he might be frustrated with something. So he definitely communicates with us in that way.
Are people allowed to have servals as pets?
Unfortunately, people can have servals as pets, but as I mentioned before, they are great at a lot of things, but they do not make good house pets.
What's your favorite thing about Kyan?
Oh, everything. Servals are definitely my favorite animal at the zoo, and especially, you know, these boys have a special place in my heart. And the bond that I have with these animals and having the ability to show them to people. Talking to guests about the animals is, and especially the servals, is so rewarding, and I'm very, very excited to have people back in the zoo. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining us in our Bringing the Zoo to You and watching the Serval Run. It's such an exciting behavior, and we are so excited to see all of you come July. All right, thank you so much for supporting Brookfield Zoo, and we hope to see you soon.